welcome to the Creative Arts once again to Moksha Talks. We've been very delighted to have Moksha Talks here, curated by Shampa Mukherjee. Since past many months, we've had some wonderful audiences and some are regular faces. So this one with Alokananda Roy is very special to us because Alokananda and I go way beyond 3 decades ago. We really bond well with each other and we share a lot of ideas, a lot of values and a lot of life trajectory, the way we've worked for community building through art. And I'm very happy that Shampa has invited Alokananda today for this episode, which is special because Shampa is taking a short break before the next season. And I'm really hoping that next season will be here soon again with a bigger and more number of audiences coming for this very uniquely curated talk, which is in-depth and looks at the artist's journey and the processes. So if you enjoy today's evening, which I know you will a lot, do tell other people when the season 2 starts, and also if you like the space, do let others know to come in big numbers and immerse in the world of arts. So thank you so much for being our guest, and thank you Shampa for blessing the space with this wonderful curation.
Thank you.
And thank you Alokadi for blessing this space.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. A round of applause for Shampa and Alokadi.
And for Ramanji. Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Moksha Talks, episode 11. In conversation with Alokananda Roy, who really does not need an introduction, but I will still introduce her because it's my pleasure and my privilege. We have named the show The Road Not Taken, and we are going to talk about that a little bit later, once we know why we are calling it The Road Not Taken. It's a very dark world that we're living in right now. I have stopped watching news items because it is horrifying me. I have given up reading the newspaper a long time ago because it only carries bad news. But then you cannot be an ostrich and you have to make some kind of compromise with what we have around us. And we also have to learn to do the best that one can under the circumstances. And under the circumstances, I think Mundidi, I call her Mundidi, I cannot call her Alokananda, is just about the right person that we need to talk to. Because she's truly like a beacon of light, and she has brought so much of that light into the lives of some extremely dark, or rather not dark people who have lived very dark lives. And I have the utmost regard and admiration for her. I know her very well from the time that I was young and she was many years younger. But we'll talk about that later.
I was younger, you were much younger. I was young and you were younger.
Okay, I stand corrected. Alokananda Roy is a celebrated Indian classical dancer, choreographer, trainer, a social reformer, dance educationist and therapist. She was a student of Modern High School, that's one connection we have. And then she taught there for many years after that, and that's how she and I became colleagues for a while. Then at Shri Sikshayatan College, where she was a gold medalist. Formerly trained in Bharat Natyam and Odissi, she is best known for her innovative dancing styles and creative stage productions. I've seen many of those. Her formal training includes a diploma in Rabindra Sangeet from Dakshinee, a diploma in pianoforte from Trinity College London, a rigorous training in classical ballet from the Calcutta School of Music. She has also been a Category A artist of Doordarshan since 1976. Her landmark social reform work, which of course we are going to talk about later this evening, began around 2000. Soon thereafter, she became associated with social reform through dance therapy in West Bengal Correctional Homes. This blossomed into a pioneering initiative to reform, realign, and rehabilitate convicts in the state correctional homes since 2007. For the same purpose, in 2010, she conceptualized and formed Touch World, a non-profit organization for reform and rehabilitation of prisoners and their families. The organization is also providing care and education to the children of the inmates of the Alipur Women's Correctional Home. She is also using dance as a therapy for specially abled children and for Parkinson's disease patients, and it's showing a marked effect. That's possibly because of her personality, it's not just her dance. She has been the brand ambassador of Parkinson's disease Patients Welfare Society. She's traveled to Japan with underprivileged children no fewer than 5 times. She's also started 2 new initiatives since 2019, dance therapy for the transgender community and for the acid attack survivors of West Bengal. As a performing artist and a social reformer, Alokananda Roy has received many prestigious awards, including the highest state award, Bongo Vibhushan, in 2014, an honorary D.Lit degree from Diamond Harbour Women's University, the West Bengal State Academy Award, the Bharat Natyam Award, the Devi Award, the She Award, and the True Legend recognition by the Telegraph. She's been honored by the Indian Postal Service, who in 2019 released a collector's edition Alokananda Roy personal postage stamp and a special cover in honor of Love Therapy, her correctional home project. She is an honorary citizen of New York City and Clarksville, USA. Let's hear it for her, ladies and gentlemen. I already told you that we share a common MHS backdrop. We also share a common CLT backdrop. I don't know how many of you are aware of CLT. It is Children's Little Theatre. And even though this is really not relevant to what we are going to talk about today, I'll just take a few minutes, if you allow me to talk about its founder, Shomur Chatterjee. We used to call him Shomurda. And I think it was a pioneering project at that point of time because not too many people thought about children. And they certainly did not think about how to give children entertainment and education at the same time. And Shomurda thought about it and he very lovingly nurtured it. And I owe a lot to CLT personally because CLT would take us on tours. I remember I was 6.5 years old when I first went away from my parents on a tour to dance in Malda in the month of May. Now we grew up at a time when the parents were not losing consciousness over the fact that it was going to be hot and how's my child going to survive and oh my God, there is no AC. We grew up in a very, very different era. So they encouraged us to do all of that and to be away from home, to be self-reliant. I learned to pack a whole doll when I was 6.5 years old, and I'm so proud of that. We had to do everything ourselves. Then we had these brilliant teachers. Oshita was one of them, I think, if I remember correctly.
Oshita was not a teacher. Actually, we had Shureshda.
Shureshda, that's right, the puppet person. Yes, that's right.
He was also a Kathak dancer.
Yeah, right. And we also had...
And we got
Balakrishnan and me too. Yeah, 2 years. And if
Kanaida.
Yes, yes. And if he didn't like anything or if he made a mistake, he just threw that stick that they used to keep tal. He just threw it at our feet, and Our parents didn't come running to Shamadar to say our child has been abused. Please don't do this. None of that. Grew up the hard way. It's okay. So times were different. Parents were different. And thank God for that, because we grew up sensible, we grew up independent, we grew up, I hope, learning all the right values. So CLT, whenever Munidhi and I have spoken, we've had wonderful memories to discuss. So I just wanted to talk about this very, very briefly. Munidhi was our Parar Bodi. She's very beautiful even today, but you have no idea how beautiful she was when I remember her as a Parar Bodi. And that husband of hers was possibly the most dashing person that I've ever met in my whole life. So when the two of them stood in one particular corner of the Baliganj Cultural Association, where people thronged to see the images, I had this very sneaking suspicion that a lot of them came to see them and her more than the Pratima. So it was, that corner was very special. They used to stand there, and she has this guffaw. She never laughs. You know, there's a sound, and when you listen to her, you actually feel, oh my God, life is so good. You know, she has that feeling on people. So yes, I remember the para part, and I remember her regaling us with these accounts of her experiences in her Shoshubari. And that was in our staff room, and we used to wait for her to enter and tell us these stories. And she has a very wicked sense of humor. She never ever says anything nasty, and even if she did, she would say it in such a nice way that it didn't sound nasty until you thought about it much, much later. You know, so she has this amazing ability to enjoy life and to ensure that everybody around her enjoys life as well. This smile, this laugh that you're hearing now, has been a constant in her life. So I remember those days, and I'm very, very privileged that I've known her in several ways, not just as this celebrity dancer who is now doing such wonderful work. I have to talk about Shyama. I don't think anybody has played the role of Shyama as many times as she has. And her Bojro Shanes would be her age. Then they become younger and younger and younger and younger and younger. And I wondered how she could emote and brought out those feelings of this long lost lover and the one who's left her and gone away and not forgiven her. I don't know how she managed, but every time Abhinaya, she cried on stage, we cried with her, and then I often wondered, why am I even crying? I know Shyama backwards and frontwards, and I know exactly what she's going to do after this, but I still cried. Again, that was her ability. Not only would she make us laugh, she could also make us cry. I know what she's going to say. She's never done anything in her life which was planned.
Yeah.
So the answer I'm giving you, but I will still ask her this question. So you have been actively involved in using cultural practices inside the correctional homes with both the male and the female inmates. Now, even if it wasn't planned, how did that happen? And tell us about it.
Well, I went as a guest on the International Women's Day. And then now we have this Alipur Women's Correctional Home, but there was just a female ward within the premises of Presidency Jail, which is a correctional home now. But it's too long a word, so I'll keep to my jail. Okay, or prison.
Okay, okay.
Right? So I was rushing in because I was slightly late. And when I walked in, I didn't think a jail would look like this. You know, spacious, trees, and it was in March. So cuckoos were singing. I said, I always thought it was a cooped up space, you know, a cell with a streak of light coming in, like you've seen. I mean, how many people go to the jail, right? That I know. So I was busy looking at the surroundings more than the people around. But I went in, and there was a little program. We were giving speeches. Few of us. The minister was there. The IG was there, and they did a little. They did a bit of a skit. I remember, and some songs and recitation. And then they asked the minister, who passed away very recently, Vishwanath Chaudhary, that if I would teach them dance. So he approached me and he said that they're interested, would you like to? So I was also excited because that was the first time I was coming across people behind the box. So I was curious too as to what their life was like. So I said, of course I will. And then when I came out, the then IG, Mr. Bidusara, he was a tremendous, because I started with him, I think it took off so easily.
So well.
Yeah. He took me around showing me the gallows in Shri Aurobindo's cell, Netaji's cell. So I was on a tour. That's when I noticed the boys. And I think being a dancer, we understand body language better than many others. And they were walking without any aim in life, nothing to look forward to. Their body language spoke volumes. I instinctively asked Mr. Sharma, I said, can I also teach the boys? So he said, won't you feel scared? People feel scared of them. I said, why should I feel scared? They're all my son's age, and what will they do to me? And why would they do anything to me? So he said, all right, done. So that's how it started. So the next, I still remember.
If I may interrupt you for a minute.
Yeah.
What are they going to do to me and why are they going to do anything to me?
Yeah.
Are no longer questions that one dares to ask today.
Within the walls?
Maybe it's different.
Yeah. They can't. Not that they can't. Not that they
That's
can't.
it.
Even now, I'm escorted. But the thing is that I'm actually escorted by my boys. They are my guards. But as the protocol demands, there has to be a lady guard who will accompany me. And even the officers there to tell me that, I don't know why we follow this rule, because this lady guard who's accompanying you has to have a male guard to accompany her. So I said, you can walk in yourself. I said, yeah, I do that. My boys are there, they take care of me. When I'm coming out, they're there. They guard me and they don't do anything. Of course, I have had some interesting incidents which I don't think I've ever spoken about. There are some of these from Africa. Yeah, they're there and they're under trials. And some of them speak fluent Bengali. Yes, they'll come and talk to me in Bengali. Anyway, so they also call me Ma. Okay, all those. Now many of them have gone back to being expatriated. Now, once I was coming out and my boys said, "Ma, please wait, don't go." I heard noises of, utensils being thrown and it was a lot of noise. So I said, what's happening? He says that those Africans are angry and they're throwing things. So don't go now, you'll get hurt. So while I waited, those boys said, Ma, you go. You go. So once I crossed, they started throwing again. So what will they do to me? They protect me. Anyway. So
they called you Ma instantly? First time?
No, they're there. So,
okay.
No, when I first went, I was madam.
Madam.
Yeah. I can't remember when, but
over
after
a period of time.
Months, no, that was very fast, within a month or two. Suddenly somebody said Ma, and I didn't react, but I felt strange, I would say. Happy, I don't know, but I felt a little strange. Suddenly somebody calling me Ma in the prison. But then others also started calling me Ma. It was a very beautiful feeling. But when they first started, they were very apprehensive because they told me later that when people go, um, they always have an agenda, so that they come either to make money, that's what they said, or they're curious to know about us. But the first thing I told them when I went was, I'll never ever ask you. Till date, I'm doing it for 18 years, but till date, I have never ever asked anybody
What they have
why
done.
they are there, because that's none of my business. They are there for a reason. It's a mistake that they've made, big or small. They've been judged and they're being punished. Now, who am I to judge? As I keep saying, that who's going to judge me?
Correct.
Am I perfect? No. I do make mistakes. Maybe, my mistakes are not punishable by law. That's why I'm here. And if it was punishable by law, I would have been with them. Right? So, when they started, the boys were reluctant because they said, who's this woman who walks in? And we'll all become effeminate, and they were being teased by the other boys. And there's a hierarchy in the prison. The bigger the criminal, the crime, the higher the position. Okay. So that's how it is. And all those who have maybe committed murders, they were coming to dance. Oh my God, it was, but they couldn't do anything. The authorities had pushed them in because I wanted to teach boys. But gradually with time, and of course I started with martial dance, which I've mentioned many times, because I knew they might feel, they could relate to martial dance because I told them it was like karate, kung fu. So they were relaxed.
And it's physical.
They were a little relaxed after that. But then slowly I started with folk dances, and they started enjoying it. As I keep saying, that the rhythm they lost in life was coming back into their bodies, and through that into their minds. So, music, dance, rhythm can actually transform a person's psyche. Because they start thinking differently. They started making things, the props, little things like dandiya. They would make dandiyas themselves and make it very ornamental. So I would tease them. I said, gradually they are becoming like Krishna Bashi. They started looking, they were so ornamental. They were no longer lathis or dandiyas. But they were enjoying doing that. They were writing poems. They were, composing songs. And most of them are from the suburbs and villages. So all those folk songs, they started composing. Beautiful songs. I have some of them with me, which were recorded. Anyway, but then more and more boys started joining. Yes, Ma, can we join? Can we join? I said, everybody is welcome. Just come and enjoy. So eventually I had 50 boys or 60 boys. And of course, the number of girls are always fewer. So that's how it started. And when they first performed, it was Dances of India. Valmiki Pratibha happened later. So Dances of India, which, one of the boys there who used to write songs, I said, okay, since you are writing songs, why didn't you write a song as though a baul was traveling and was going to different states and make it in a way so that then we have that dance. So he would, and we did it. And they got a standing ovation. This was at the Doordarshan Dance Festival that year, 2007. they got a standing ovation. That is what changed them. It's not me.
More about that later.
Yeah. And I still remember when they were returning to the prison, they were dancing with those dandiyas and all those props that they had used, as if they have come back after winning a war, and their whole body language changed after that. So I never asked them, but I could feel, because they became a part of my life by then. I could feel that, just as they were being punished for the wrong they have done, they were also being appreciated for the good they were doing. Nobody wants to be bad. As I keep saying and I'll keep repeating, no child is born a criminal or an offender. Why they do what they do, we have to learn to go to the root and not just judge them for their actions. And because I'm also involved with juveniles who are in conflict with law, I don't want to use the word crime because they're too small. I know why they are the repeat offenders. And they do it because juvenile justice is more liberal, so they're usually not convicted. And once they're released, what happens? The schools don't take them back. The parents, I don't know how the family reacts, must be pulling them up all the time if they do anything wrong. Friends don't mix with them. So where do they go?
A stigma.
Stigma, and where do they
Where
go?
will they go?
They will go where they're accepted. And that's the dark world.
Yeah.
So repeatedly they keep going back, and they're no longer, they don't fear doing the wrong things anymore. Because they have been sucked in. Yeah, they are sucked into that system. And they're protected by the older ones. And they're a part of that gang. And gradually they grow up and they form their own gangs. And
it's a very interesting way in which crime follows its path.
Of course. And that is why I talk about rehabilitation. Once they're released means they have served their term. They were punished, and this is the term they had to serve. I'm not talking about the lifers so much, but the ones who
will be eventually released.
Yeah. But many lifers have been released so far, and they've all gone back to normal life. At least my boys have. And they have all gone back to their families, and they're doing something or the other. And that is why rehabilitation is so important. Because if they don't get an opportunity to do something, they will have to survive. And maybe to survive, they have to go back to crime. So we don't think of that, immediately, they're stigmatized and we push them away. And we create more criminals. The society does. And it is the same society who has made them feel good. When they perform, it is the people who make them feel good. It is the people who give them that the dignity of an artist. So, but immediately after that, they're pulled down as criminals. So,
was Valmiki Pratibha a deliberate choice?
Yes.
Because there's a parallel involved?
Yes. Once I saw that they were transforming internally, their behavior, their thinking pattern, and their creativity, all that started. I thought, Tagore has everything on a platter for us. And I immediately thought of doing Valmiki Pratibha. And why Valmiki Pratibha is so special to each one of us is not only the story behind it, but also it's, all the songs are sung by them, all the costumes, the props, everything is made by them. Initially, and the songs are not only sung by them, the voice of Valmiki is by the IG, Mr. P.T. Sharma. And, the bad, those hunters, they were the warders, the officers. So it was, nothing was from outside. Everybody was a part of the system. And believe it or not, during that time, there's a lot of corruption everywhere. Why just talk about the prison? Everywhere. One of the warders told me that, after being involved in this, two of them called me Ma. This is Ma. We used to go home and despise ourselves for doing certain things that we shouldn't have done. And my mother told me, don't do it again. So it was not just the prisoners, it was also a part of the system who were getting into this reformative process. So it was so beautiful. But then, with time, things change and, certain things are taken for granted. And then many others come in, and then finances come in, and then things sort of change. But then I've never lost hope. And my boys are jewels. I can say that. They are really good boys. And even if they do something wrong, they'll come and tell me. They'll come and tell me everything. Because they know that I don't judge them. And I will never get them into trouble. I'll try to protect them. Of course, I punish them. I beat them. They get whacks from me every now and then. So they don't mind. And the day one of them, during the program, quite a few of them get it on their backs. And they're all in the same costume. So I don't know who's who. So the next day, when I go, I say that, Kal ke kake ami mere chi. So they'll raise their hands. You know why? Because they get a hug. So the next day, they crave for love. Why I've named my organization Touch World is because touch heals. Nobody touches them. Other than me, nobody touches them. That is so sad.
That could also be metaphoric. Nobody wants to touch them with a barge pole, so that could also be metaphoric. Not just physical touch. But Muniti, when you took them out for productions outside the city, and you had to travel and all of that, you never felt scared?
No.
Why? I mean,
I
you
trust
were
them.
responsible for all those boys, and what if one of them ran? I know they didn't.
Yeah.
Nobody ran
Yeah.
away. I know, I've heard you enough times, and
Yeah.
I know that they didn't. But what about you and that risk that you were taking? The fact that you would be hauled up by law if any one of them did something that was wrong.
Yeah, but I trust them. I trust them.
And you thought that trust was...
nobody trusts them. So if somebody trusts them,
they will deliver.
Yes, they will always respect that. Before traveling, I sit with them and I counsel them. This is, you will be traveling by train. I'm going to travel with you, but we are in a different compartment. We are in the AC and they're in the non-AC. But we spend a lot of time together. I said, if one of you do anything wrong, you will never be able to go back to your family. You'll have to live in hiding. Firstly, what is the point? And secondly, because of you, all these other boys will suffer because the whole project, if you call it a project, will stop. So would you like to do this? I said, Ma, you have given us so much. You've given us a second life. And you trust us. And we'll never betray it. So I said, okay. I know you.
To me, this is literally sounding like a miracle. And we are living in an age where miracles don't happen. There is no Jesus Christ. So, what do you? I mean, I know this is love. That's your common denominator. I know that you have given them the love, the respect. I'm using the word respect because I'm sure nobody gives it to them.
Yes.
The fact that you trust them. Is there anything else? Is there something else that you're also doing right? Being a mother, being there for them, what are the various things that you do? How did this miracle happen? And how did it happen to you? As I told everyone here, that you still are, you're a very fun-loving person. You are all the time saying things which will make everybody laugh. For you to get into that zone and work a miracle, that in itself sounds like a miracle.
It's fun for me. I have lots of fun with them.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. The fact that they listen to you, the fact that they have done things right.
We have a whale of a time. I mean, you can't imagine how witty they are. If I tell you some anecdotes, some of them I don't know if I should. But they are.
Don't need censoring even, tell us.
No. I mean, there was I told you there's a hierarchy.
Yeah.
So once somebody had tried to commit suicide, not within my team, but somebody else, and then he was put into a cell when he had 2 guards in the morning, 2 guards at night, and when he would go to make a call, they have this Vodafone counters there for the prisoners. So when they went to make a phone call, there would be a 3rd guard for him, right? And this boy comes and tells me he's a puny little thing, right? Put into a murder case. He's a lifer. Now he's in the open jail. He tells me that, Ma, what is this? And very on a serious note, he says, what is this? He gets 2 guards at night, 2 guards during the day, and 1 extra when he's going to make a call. And I'll say this in Bengali. It was a cheating case in Russia. আমরা একটা খুন করে এসেছি, আমাদের কোনো মানের জন্য নেই।
Yeah, this is a very interesting hierarchy. Yes.
So did
you laugh when you heard this?
Yeah, of course I did. Of course I laughed.
Yeah, I guess that's the miracle. You don't sit and give them gyan.
Yeah, they are the ones who tell. I've also taught the police, who all haven't at all. BSF jawans, BGB jawans, and they've all performed. Yeah, we don't know about that.
No.
Oh, that's another interesting one. I'll come to that.
Yeah.
So, for this Joyo Hey, for 3 or 4 consecutive years, I was teaching. The inaugural dance was by the police force, and I taught them. 60 of them. All right. So some of them, when they go for their programs, they're accompanied by the Kolkata police. When they come out of the prison, when they go for a program, then the Kolkata police takes over. So some of them, not all, but some of them call me Mom. Right. So one of them, they says, Mama, after selfie. And they were getting into the bus. They noticed. So I said, okay, I posed for a selfie. And the next day when I went, one of these boys said that, Mom, you don't have to worry about anything. I said, why? What makes it? He said, chorero ma, polishero ma. So that's how they are. And they love to hear my childhood stories. This I have to say, it's a very sweet little story. Now, we were brought up by 2. One is Renul Ma, and there was Modon. So Modon used to teach me how to get onto a running tram and get off. Sometimes you go to school and the tram never stopped in front. It would
So
go.
you had to...
No, but it slowed down. So he says, now jump. So I said, get off. get on the running tram. That was taught by him. So he would bring me from CLT in Deshapur Park, then it was in Deshapur Park. So we would walk down. I stay near Triangular Park. And there was this Madras laundry, which is now Asha Brothers something, around that place. There was a Madras laundry. And one day I was coming and there was a crowd. What happened? The Madras laundry says, oh, there's a theft in Madras laundry and they've caught the thief. I said, oh, I was dying to see the thief. I've never seen a thief before. I didn't realize that I would land up being with them and they'll become my children later in life. So I said, I have to see. So he carried me on his shoulder. I was small. So carried me on his shoulder and I was peeping and see. And those days, thieves looked different.
Yeah.
They used to be bald, clean shaved with oil. And with just a chaddi or something. I still remember, bare-bodied, oily. So that they can slip away. And you can't even catch their hair. And no clothes. So they caught him. And, come to think of it, in those days, they would beat up the thief or whoever. But there was no lynching. And then either they go, if they have got something, they hand them over to the police or something like that. But we've never seen lynching. So when I saw others slapping him on the back, so I told Morgan, I said, I also want to be. So he took me forward. So I gave 1 or 2 hits, which I think he felt was a pat on his back. I came home. Well done. So I came away. So I told this story to my boys. So one of the boys said, Ma, chote bala thiki tumi chot din maro. Because I beat them too.
So, did you come home and narrate the story to your mom?
To my mother?
Huh?
Yeah.
How did she react?
Look, I didn't go. I mean, when I was small.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't remember. Maybe not. I was too small then.
Yeah.
Too small. So even when I was teaching these PSF jawans, they performed in Benapole-Petropole border together. Now, these are stories which I don't often say because everything is asked about the prison. Now, I was rehearsing with them over here, and I used to go to Bonga, to the border, to teach the BGB jawans. Well, they did one dance, those BGB jawans. So on the day of the program, the costumes were with me, and they were all getting ready. My students were there because it was a joint venture, and it was happening in that no man's land, between the 2 gates. Beautiful program it was. I called it the Mohana. So the artists from here and there performed. The singers were from here and there. It was, of course, pre-recorded. And the BGP jawans and the BSF jawans, they performed together. So the costumes were with me, and they were not being allowed to come, crossing the border to India to get the costumes. Now what happens? What happens is, there I was in my costume, and the Home Minister had already arrived in London, so he was taking the chopper to land there, and they didn't have the costumes. So, and they said that only I will be allowed to go. So there I was carrying 12 BGP Jawan's costumes with my costume on, running from India's border to Bangladesh border to hand over the costumes for them to get ready. It was
This is something I've heard you talk so many times, but this is a first. Oh my God.
Not just that, we had gone once and she was there also. And they said we'll cross over, and they were going to treat us to Ilish. They said that আপনি ইলিশ মাছ ভালোবাসেন? I said, হ্যাঁ আমি বাঙাল, আমি ইলিশ মাছ ভালোবাসি. They said, okay, they were going to treat me and others to Ilish Mach. So we crossed over without a visa, and yeah, and they were asking, Aloka sir koi? Aloka sir? I think they couldn't imagine that I was teaching those jawans. It was a woman who was teaching, and this Aloka sir.
Were you still in costume?
No, that was not
the same
program. Yeah, it was the previous day when we had gone for rehearsals. So, I mean, I've really experienced a lot in life.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been the police, BSF, BGB,
Did
prisoners.
you find the Bangladesh jawans or border police or whatever they were? Did you find them a little different to work with, or were they the same?
No.
Same.
They're all human beings.
That's the miracle. The miracle question that I asked, that's the miracle.
They're all human beings. And I don't think there's anybody in this world, there could be exceptions, who will not respond to genuine compassion, love, and anything, a genuine positive feeling. Anybody would respond. I don't think, we are all human beings, and we all have that goodness in us, each one of us. We just need a hand to ignite that.
I would want to believe you.
No, nothing is impossible. No. I don't think, I had a tremendous argument with somebody the other day when he said that he was talking about the victims and the senior police officer. He has no compassion for the prisoners. So I said, they were not born criminals. No child is born criminal. We never look at the root. We only see the surface. Why they did what they did. I've often spoken about this little boy. I get very emotional when I talk about this.
That's okay.
Who works, who I met in a dhaba. A boy of hardly 10, it's about 10 years old. And I was there, I loved my toast there, with butter and chini on top. I was sitting on the charpai, it was winter. I was sitting on the charpai. I don't get those charpais anymore in dhabas.
That's true.
So, and this little boy, chubby little boy, running around, running errands. So I called him. I said, Kandan, what's your name? I don't remember his name. And then I said, just sit here. He said, I'm on a touch. I have a lot of work. And I said, do that. I'll talk to your boss. You just sit with me. I want to ask you something. You want to eat something? He said, I don't have time. And I said, no, but you have to eat something. Sit here with me. I said, what's your name? Where do you stay? I said, I stay here. I said, where are your parents? He thought for a while. Acha. Nothing else. I said, they coming? No. Acha. I didn't probe because he was avoiding the question. And there we go. No, So then I said, so where do you sleep at night? With whom? He said, oh, I sleep here. I said, who do you stay with? He says, I stay here. I eat here. I stay here. I said, and where do you sleep at night? Innocent boy. I said, the truck drivers, they hire these charpayas at night to sleep. I have to sleep with them.
Sleep or
Yeah.
sleep?
Sleep with them. Is a young boy of 10, 11.
Christ.
I was shaken. I was really shaken. I couldn't say a word. I just gave him a hug and I came away because I didn't
Know what else to do?
Yeah, what else to say also? What else to ask? And what they do is, after a point, they get them addicted to some kind of addiction. It could be anything. And then they'll do anything to get that.
Yes.
See, I have seen life. I have seen real people in the real world. That is why I've become so non-judgmental. Today, if he grows up, if he doesn't get what he wants, when he needs it, he will also commit a crime.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll call him a criminal. Who has made those criminals is my question. Yeah. We have. The society has. Because we don't give them that opportunity to lead a normal child's life.
Muniti, you obviously can't, much as we would want you to, but you cannot carry on forever. And this body of work that you have done, and you have changed so many lives. How do you look at the sustainability of this? How do you think this is going to be carried on? Do you think it's going to be carried on? Because I've heard you say that there is nobody who wants to do it in the way that you have done or you have worked. They come
Yes,
and go.
I've given all of myself. And I've done it lovingly.
Yeah.
And
The others will do it for page 3 appearances, I guess.
yes, and everything, nobody can think that I have done all of this from my own pocket.
Your students know it.
Yeah, they know.
Yeah.
Of course, now when they get invited for their performances, the organizers pay for the expenses. But the initial cost, and I don't take a penny because they're my children. I'm doing it for my children. Why would I charge a fee for something like this? I just cannot do it. My conscience does not allow me. Even if I need, I cannot. I'm doing it for them, and it's my projects are expensive. My programs are very, very expensive. I take the best of the lights, the sound, everything.
Yeah, we know your standards. So,
So it is expensive. Now the organizers have to pay for all of that. And they have to give quite a heavy amount for the prisoners' welfare fund. But people think that I've made millions out of this. Let them think. I don't really care. And I keep telling people that it's just my conscience I have to answer to. I don't have to answer anybody. And if I believe in something, nobody can stop me. And if I don't believe in something,
nobody can make you do it. Yeah, we know you well enough to know that.
Yes.
No, but to go back to my question of sustainability. Well, so this is going to go away when you go away?
There's never a vacuum for anything. Somebody will come and step into my shoes. I hope.
Let's hope so. But you've tried, haven't you, to
I
build
have
people
tried.
to
I've tried. Failed.
failed.
I can't always succeed. There are certain places where I have failed.
Is there any way in which you can showcase your work or archive your work? Have you done anything at least in those directions so that
I wish I had a space like this. Just
Uh,
this space.
Just
would be
wishing is
enough.
not going to help.
Help? Then you help.
I wish I could, but then I hope all the audience across the world who's going to listen to this YouTube.
I need a space.
It's going to, yes.
I need a space. You know, there are so many people, especially abroad, who are doing a lot of research work. I mean, research on my work. I don't call it my work, it's a part of my life. And a lot of it is being done. But I'll be very honest with you. What is possible here may not be possible in even maybe other parts of our country.
Yes.
Leave aside the world. I know, I went for this world conference of Shakespeare in prison, and they couldn't believe that the prisoners come out of the prison and they perform outside and they go back. Forget about traveling by trains. Even just performing outside the gates of the prison is not allowed. Is not allowed. They do a lot of theatre, especially Shakespeare, but all within the prison wall. But I told them, I said, unless the society appreciates them, it will not have any effect. I hope that boy comes, who also calls me, they call me Mama Roy in the prison there. Yeah. I went for a session in the US prison, and what I found, it's very, very different from our prison. They call it the correctional facility. They have a lot of facilities. It looks very nice and clean from outside. But they still have, what we used to call berry. They have digital berries now, trackers, which they have to wear around their
so they can be tracked.
Yes, and even while charging, they have to sit close to the charger and charge. They cannot take it off. So, but we still call it the correctional home. It's a little homely, dirty, messy, but it's homely.
No digitization.
No, nothing like that. So they do what they want without being tracked. They can't.
Mahatma Gandhi's son was very resentful that Mahatma Gandhi was too busy being the father of the nation and wasn't much of a father to him. Your children, have they ever resented that the way you become mum and ma and mama and no?
I have not raised them that way. And in fact, they're very proud.
Of course.
Yeah. Like even on my birthday, he says, Ma, I'll come and wish you in the morning because the rest of the day you'll be taken over by others. So he'll come and wish me in the morning and the rest of the day belongs to all my children, whether they're in prison or outside.
So the people who have been released and who are, they found their way back to normal life, they keep in touch with you.
Oh yeah, many of them. Not everybody, but most of them. They get busy with their work. It's a struggle. I have been able to rehabilitate quite a few of them. But the number is large and I really can't take care of all of them.
Yes,
That's why I keep appealing to people. I have to approach corporates for their CSRs. They don't have to give me anything. Just do something for them. And they come from very humble backgrounds. So if they can do, and the open prison, it's another story. How many stories can I tell in one day? Not possible. But they do keep in touch with me. I must tell you about this boy who, after being released, he was driving trucks. And he was shuttling between Maharashtra and Gujarat. So I would often tell him, when he called, I said, please, you must call me at least once a month because otherwise I worry. You're on the highway most of the time. So just tell me that you're okay and I'll be happy. He said, and for some time he wasn't calling me. for quite some time. I didn't have, because he used to keep changing his number. I couldn't track him. One day he calls me. I said, Papu, where were you all this time? I was so worried, and then I stopped worrying. So he says, no, Ma, actually, I was waiting to call you to give you some good news. I said, what is it? He says, now I'm no longer just a truck driver. I own a truck. So now he not only owns a truck, he sends me a drawing of the new house that he's going to build. And then I have to go to his house. Yeah, he's the one who sent me a ticket when he got married.
Really?
A train ticket, yeah. And he's from Bihar, so he had come to get married in Bihar. And he sent me a train ticket. I wanted to go, but I wasn't sure about the basic facilities in the village. So I didn't have the courage to go. That was, I felt bad.
In a way, I'm glad, because you could have become a Lapata lady. So that would have been a little frightening, but then that's okay.
But then he called me one day and he said, another boy, he called me one day and he said that, I got married. He wasn't even released, right? He was on parole and he went and got married. So I gave him such a scolding. I said, doesn't your wife know? He says, yeah, she knows. So I said, well, she's courageous, I must say. And he's a lifer. Anyway, when he was released, then he had a boy. No, he wasn't released there, but he had a boy. And he called me. He says, Mom, he calls me Mom. Mom, I said, Kobe. I said, Ekkuni. I was so touched that, at moments like this, they remember me.
You. And why not?
No. Once you are out from there and you're in this deep sea, struggling, they even have problem crossing a road initially. So they get sucked into this world of competition, of survival. Competition comes later, of survival. So they may not remember me. And as I said, there are three things that has happened very naturally. I can love unconditionally. Even if they don't keep in touch, it doesn't stop me from loving them. I still feel the same way.
So basically you have no expectations.
I have no expectations from anybody, anyway.
Oh wow, you have already achieved Moksha, I think.
Yes.
What a wonderful show that
That's
you
why
have
I'm in
been
a book.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know.
That's why I have
My guest who has already achieved that. Wow.
I have no expectation from anybody, for anything. Yeah.
Does anyone have a question for Munidhi? Anyone, anything that you want to ask her? I've been doing all the talking and all the questioning.
With you and me, talking so much.
Yeah.
We've said it all.
No.
They have nothing
With
to
you,
ask.
there is never the word all.
We are her children. For us, she is not only billionaire, she is actually Her Majesty for us. That's all.
I'm the queen.
Yeah, that's why she wears this. And
Absolutely.
maybe you could just qualify what kind of children you are, because half the world will think that you have come out of nowhere.
Yes, I know.
So you belong to her dance school. Yes, you're the child, but you are, from the dance school. So
now you know what a billionaire I am, because my crown is this.
Yeah, I know. That's why you
There
wear
are no
it.
jewels.
Go.
I'm sorry, my question is not very, how to say it, to the point.
Huh?
All I want to know is, see, each crime has a story behind, right? Nobody becomes a criminal just for the sake of becoming a criminal. So has anybody, any of those students of yours or boys of yours or girls of yours, ever spoken to you about it and tried to explain themselves?
Well, I never ask.
Yeah, I know you
Okay,
don't
but
ask.
some of them do come and tell me. And why I'm saying that nobody is born a criminal, and a crime once committed does not make you a criminal.
Yeah.
You know, because we don't know in what situation that crime was committed. I'll tell you about this one boy who's a fantastic singer. I call him my Pagla Jagat. He was there for a murder. Now,
From
he's
birth, you said?
Murder.
for murder. And but would you call him a criminal after I tell the story? He's in Bali. He lives in Bali, and when he came home one day, he could hear his wife screaming from inside. Okay? So he forced open the door and found somebody who was supposed to be his boss, trying to molest his wife. So in a fit of fury, started hitting him, quite natural. And the man died. So they didn't know what to do. Normally, the ones who are into crime, they know how to hide evidence. But these people are not criminals. So he took the body and wrapped it up and kept it somewhere. And then he was too scared. So he told his wife, he said, let's go to the Thana and speak the truth. Because Shottir joy. So he went with his wife and spoke the truth. And immediately it was a confession. So he was behind bars. He was there for 14 or 15 years. And finally he got released. But can anybody give back those 15 years of his life for a crime that he committed? Would you call him a criminal? But in the eyes of the law,
Yeah, that's what I feel too. I mean, sometimes the crime, and I don't mean it in the same words,
Yes.
it's justified. There is a justification for that.
no, there is no justification.
So why don't
but
we
it's
have-
accidental. It could be accidental. There is never a justification for something
No, I
wrong.
agree. I'm
Yeah.
using the wrong word
Yeah.
totally. But what I'm trying to say is, why don't we have a law where somebody commits a crime because it was needed at that time, I suppose.
Yeah,
I mean,
that
I'm
is
using
why
all
he
the wrong
got.
words.
That is why eventually he got released. But you know the system. It goes on for years and years and years and years till they can come out. And they all come from very humble
I
background.
know.
They don't have the means to hire a really good
Lawyer.
lawyer. This is a story of most of my boys. So they are there. One of my boys languishing for 22 years. And of course, very recently, I felt extremely proud that there was this judges' conference very recently on 29th of June, where they were invited, my boys were invited by the High Court, Calcutta High Court, to perform for their conference. Right? So there were 40 of them who performed. And there were Supreme Court judges as well. And today, you know, on the screen I was watching and I saw some of them and recognized them, even the Solicitor General. And they got a standing ovation from these people who have put them there. Right? So you see, even the judges have a soft spot.
Oh, yes.
They are also human beings.
They are also part of a system.
Yes, and it touched them. And I'm happy this happened because they got to see these people as real people and not just offenders. So I'm sure with time, not everything will change, but a lot of things will change. But we as a society have to take that responsibility. We just can't ignore. You know, okay.
Anyone else?
It's a question which lingers in everybody's mind. Nigel became very famous. What was the difference between him and the others?
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Uh,
Was he a good
he
actor
was-
or something?
No, he was not at all a good actor. It took me 7 months to make him Valmiki. He was an angry young man. Always angry, forever angry, always howling, and even the officers were scared of him.
What was his crime?
Many.
Well,
Oh, many.
I don't want to say all of that in front.
No, not a lifer.
camera.
He wasn't a lifer.
Yeah, he was a lifer.
He was a lifer. Oh my God.
Yeah, he was. Well, see, he was more educated than the others. He's an extremely intelligent boy. And he utilized the opportunity that he got. And when he came out, he was always with me. I took him everywhere I went for people to give him that acknowledgement. Right? And then, of course, he took off from
He took
there.
off. He took
Yes, then he's not tied to my apron strings anymore.
He has some NGO, I heard.
I suppose. I think he's doing well for himself.
He's a real good. Now he looks like a real gentleman. But you can feel the seething anger in his performance in his first film. Thereafter,
yeah.
there were many, but it was there.
I've seen a few of his like shorts, not the real films. But yes, there is an intensity.
Feature film.
Where
Question? Sure.
Now, it was a very positive role.
where it was a Bengali feature film. I cannot remember the name, but he had a good role in that, and it was a very positive role.
Gotro. I
Gotro.
think the one in which Onushaw was also there.
Shiva Prasad and Nandita. Yes, yes.
First of all, I just want to say you, ma'am, and I don't have that capacity to ask you a question. I gone through some of the sessions of yours, Sarki. So the thing I noticed actually that how you applied the theory of principle of natural justice to eliminate the stereotypeness of the whole of the society actually. Beyond the codified laws, I can say that beyond the codified laws, beyond the constitutional laws, beyond the judgments which are actually made by the Supreme Court or Honorable Supreme Court of India. It's a process actually you applied the principle of natural justice on the after the judgment actually. After the judgment, after they were convicted by the honorary courts or various courts of different regions of the various jurisdictions. So this is whenever we used to, as a law student, I want to say you that whenever we used to study the law, actually it's a part of the social science actually. So this is actually the process. It's a process that you have actually transformed the society using this actually theory. This is really very much. This process, the Supreme Court has thought of this process very later, and after that, this process has been adopted by the Honorable Supreme Court, and various adopting this process, the various public interest litigations are also being filed before the Honorable Supreme Court through Article 32 of the Indian Constitution, through Article 226 in the High Courts, and the special leave petitions. So this is something very much. This is great. I think this needs a global national recognition. I think so.
May I just interrupt you and respond to I was going to ask you if you were a lawyer.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling me before I could ask you. That was a wonderful lesson in law. But if I know her well enough,
Yeah.
I can respond to a part of that question. I don't think she thinks.
Yeah.
I don't think she thinks of this as a transformatory thing, like you mentioned, natural or otherwise. She just does. Like her name, she's a river. She flows. She does what she wants. She overflows. All of that. And we have Oyon over here, who's apparently her student, who also said in one of his articles that this river goes from the bottom to the top, not the other way down, which is natural. And I just heard this a little while ago. I'm in love with that definition of Alokananda, because that's exactly who she is. I don't think she's ever done anything in her life which is planned, premeditated,
Nothing.
Strategized.
That's because I don't have the capacity to do
No. That's just you being modest.
I must tell you this. What you said just now is what one of the senior judges said. That, it's opened eyes. It's opened many eyes. And now even they see things in a different way. You know why I could do it? I'll tell you why. Because I have not studied law. If I knew too much of that, then, I would have thought. I know nothing. You know the story of Bumblebee? Do you know? This is almost like the Bumblebee story, right? I had gone to check my bone density. I was forced to by one of my friends. And then when it was over, the man asked, "Can I do it again?" I said, "Yes, most welcome." He did it again. And then he said, "I can't believe this. What it's showing here is you shouldn't even be able to walk straight." And I believe you dance. I said, "Yes, I do." So I told him the story. He says, "You know the story of Bumblebee? If the bumblebee, the weight of the body and the wings don't match, right? But it flies. You know why? Because he didn't study physics." So it's the same thing. Because I have not studied law, I don't even know that part of it. I just, like she said, I just do. And I do everything from here. I don't do because I have to. It's a social cause. I'm a social worker. No, I'm just me.
No,
I'm
you're just
not
a mum.
I'm just a mom.
Just a mum.
Yeah, and in Pondicherry prison they call me Amma. And that's the sweetest. Yes, they performed. And mind you, they don't understand English. I don't understand Tamil. But we have conversations. Well,
Love needs no language.
that is it. And dance also. It doesn't need a language. Dance itself is a language. So is love. So it's my love and dance put together, and I don't need a language. I mean, I have to speak, but then you don't have to understand every word if you understand the
The
flow.
heart, yeah. Okay, I think we've had a really, really good session. I expected it to be with her here. I said in the beginning of the show that I will say why we talked about this being the route not taken. I have obviously borrowed it from a poem. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. That has made all the difference. Thank you so much. And thank you, the Creative Academy, once again. See you in season 2. The last of this season, season 1, which is going to be episode 12, is going to be completely online because I'll be talking to one of my ex-students who lives in LA. She is a practicing vet, and I want to talk to her about animals. I'm very, very disturbed about the elephants that's in the news. And I am very, very in agreement with this message that is going around and has gone viral, that women, children, and animals are not safe. And I couldn't agree more. I really couldn't agree more. We've heard Munidi talk about justification, reason, background, the surface, all that. But then the fact is that we are doing inexplicably horrible things to people and animals around us. Every day you hear about abandoned dogs, cats, torture, all of that. And I'm very proud of this ex-student because A, she chose to be a vet. And she knew she wanted to be a vet when she was in class 8. I mean, hats off to her. And as far as I know, in West Bengal, there are very, very few opportunities to study veterinary science. So she went abroad and she did all that. And now she shares stories of how she's operating on otters and beavers and heaven knows what else. But my horror was when I told her that I want to address this issue about parent responsibility. If you're adopting a pet, then you have to know what you're going in for. And in India, this is really getting bad. And she said, Miss, I hate to disillusion you. It is just as bad here. So I'm really looking forward to that chat with her, even if it's going to be online. I'm going to miss you people, but you will catch it on YouTube, those of you who love animals. And even if you don't, please do listen. I will share the link on Facebook as usual. I will share it with Munidi as well. So I'm sure she can forward it to you. I hope you can do that.
That much I can.
That much you can do, okay. And when your phone
But
works.
when my phone works.
Yes.
Look, if there are so many groups.
Yeah, I know.
that
You
are
said 37.
37. And
So this is going to be the last live here for season 1 of Moksha Talks. I have enjoyed putting these chat shows up for all of you. I hope you've enjoyed listening in, and I do hope that in time, when season 2 comes on, we will have more interesting and more meaningful things to talk. Not to say that we didn't do that this time. We tried to, but next time, for the next season, we want to do more, and we want to talk about issues that people don't usually talk about, or perhaps are too scared to talk about, or perhaps they avoid it, or whatever the reasons are. So thank you so much, those of you who are here, and thank you, the YouTube audience, for always being there for us. Thank you.
thank you.
This was lovely.